Everybody, I'm Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. This is my sweet baby Grinch right over here. He's the narrator and director and also therapy bird. So anyway, he likes to do the videos with me. And funny enough, when I have sessions with people, if they don't see the Grinch, they're like, "Where's Grinch?" So there's Grinch for today. Today our topic, though, is going to be about being unapologetic and being able to own our own space and being able to go through this life without giving our power away. Who doesn't want that? If you want that, please hit the like and subscribe button below and also hit the little bell for notifications, because sometimes my videos show up on Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, but this way you'll know when they show up. So I want to thank you all who visit this channel on a regular basis. Welcome back, and I appreciate you so very much. If you're new to this channel, I have to let you know that I'm not a doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, a scientist, any of those things, but I like those things and I learn a lot from those things, and sometimes I share with you what I learned. So if it helps me, I'm hoping it will help you too. What I am is a life coach, and I have a webpage called stacyforlife.com. I invite and encourage you to go check it out. I write a monthly blog, and there's a description of the services that I provide as a life coach. So I look forward to working with you. But now we're going to get into the topic, okay? Because I'm just really trying to help and raise the vibe of this universe and to help you feel comfortable in your own skin too. It's taken a lot of work for me to get here. So when I talk about being unapologetic, it doesn't mean that you go through this life and never apologize when you do something wrong. Being unapologetic means that you feel comfortable in your own skin and that you're not apologizing just for simply being present on this earth. But how many of us would apologize, and people have to tell you, "Oh, don't apologize," or "Quit apologizing, quit saying I'm sorry." So being unapologetic means that, when we do that, I know when I did that, it kind of was a sense of not belonging, that we really don't feel like we belong, that we're feeling uneasy. So the nervousness in us has us saying, "I'm sorry," a lot. So being unapologetic is just really being confident. And when you're confident, you apologize when you did something wrong, but you don't apologize, by just saying "I'm sorry" several times nervously in a conversation. And then when you're unapologetic, you walk in and you do own your own space. We've seen that bumper sticker phrase about how I used to walk into a room and I wondered if they would like me, and now I walk into a room and I wonder if I like them. So when we walk into a room and we own our own space, we realize that we actually have a space in that room, that it's okay if not everybody likes us, but somebody will like us if we like ourselves. So it's really getting down to asking ourselves, do I like myself? When you're unapologetic, you like yourself. So you have to ask yourself these questions. Am I apologizing all the time for just being here? We apologize for crying, and that's a learned behavior. So some of the apologies are a learned behavior that we just heard it over and over. Some of it is a nervousness about being in people's presence and not feeling comfortable in our own skin. Some of it is that we give our power away. We're imagining that people are better than we are. We're giving our power away because we are all people. We are, not as bad as everyone else, but, it's the humility, having humility. Humility is understanding that I'm just as good as everyone else, but I'm no better than anyone else, So it's being right-sized there. Then we won't give our power away. Once we've accepted our own flaws and imperfections, we won't look for the flaws and imperfections in others. We can just show up and be happy and be present rather than worrying about if people are going to like us. And then we're worried about people liking us. We tend to apologize to these people so they do like us. So it's knowing our motivations and our intentions. But it's being able to ask those questions. First off, am I apologizing? So sometimes we have to ask those questions of ourselves, and sometimes we have to ask them with others. Am I over apologizing? Am I, giving my power away? am I owning my own space? Am I feeling comfortable in my skin? So first off, it's asking ourselves those questions. You certainly don't want to give anybody the power by asking them those questions, because you know in your soul those questions. So I'm going to read you a quote that I posted on Facebook the other day, about asking these questions, okay? It's by Einstein. I love Einstein quotes. So this quote says, I'm trying to keep you from getting too much glare off these lights. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. So my thoughts on this when I posted this, because I was sitting with someone the other day and they said, I just never question. And I too used to just take things at face value. But it says that the important thing is to not stop questioning. There is a questioning spirit of a child in wonder. That's the one that I'm talking about, not an argumentative state, because we have people who just argue with us, and sometimes that's who we're saying, I'm sorry to. So it's being able to have our own energy when we walk into that room, to where someone's not going to take that power away from us, because if we're owning our own space, we're owning our own power. I was taught as a child in many ways not to question, especially in religion. So sometimes it starts in religion. It may not have started in your home, but especially about religion. And sometimes that can make people feel very shame-filled. I'm grateful for spirituality and the expansiveness that it allows to feel free to question and wonder like a child. We are grown now. No one to shush us when we ask questions. Ask questions. Learn. Don't be scared. Fear of asking questions comes from, the fear of conflict and confrontation. I used to not ask questions as an adult based on that fear underneath. So I once got called on because somebody, like I said, I would take things at face value. And I wouldn't ask a question about why did a person think this, because maybe somebody said I owed them money. And I would just blow them off and be like, yeah, rather than, standing up for myself, because I was afraid of conflict and confrontation, when the real deal was I really didn't owe this person money. So finally, my sponsor said to me when I would tell her about this interaction I was having, she said, you're afraid of conflict and confrontation, Stacy. And I did. I would just go through life and just be like, okay, well, I'll ignore this person, do this. But I didn't stand up for myself. So if I didn't stand up for myself, then I didn't feel like I was owning my own space, right? I gave my power away, not standing up for myself. Even though I didn't verbalize it, even though I just thought these things, I would cringe at the next phone call at this person. I would do these different things that we do when we don't feel comfortable in our own skin. Cringe at the phone call, apologize maybe, and all of this, because inevitably we're going to make excuses when we don't want to talk to somebody. Then when we finally do talk to them, we're going to make excuses and say, I'm sorry, and do all this other bullshit, where when we feel good in our own skin, we're not going to do those things. So when we ask questions, first off, I talked about the questions we asked of ourselves. But then when conflict and confrontation, sometimes we don't ask questions because we are feared of conflict and confrontation, right? Because sometimes we don't want to know the answer to a question, and sometimes we will make stuff up to the answer of the question. We get really pretty creative. But making stuff up is an easy way out too, and that's still not honoring ourselves and honoring another person, because it's just better when we learn to communicate, because then that gives us power. It's arrogant of us to think that, as children, some of us didn't learn these communication ways that help us own our own power. And even now, that I have learned some communication, but I'm still, every time I want to have an opportunity or achievement, I have to learn more ways to communicate how I'm going to get to that opportunity or achievement, because when we haven't done something before, we have to learn how to make that happen. Sometimes we have to learn different things about that, so we're going to have to learn the words that go along with making that achievement happen. But people have a fear, right, of not being smart enough, or thinking that they're stupid, and that comes from that low self-esteem. And that low self-esteem is what has us wanting people to like us, even though they might not be nice or likable people. and so we're afraid to ask them questions because we're afraid they're going to be argumentative. But what we find is when we step into our own power and say, "What'd you say?" or "Excuse me," half the time they will back down even when they're bullying you. So then you can feel like you're unapologetic. You don't have to apologize when you don't need to. You don't have to worry about if you belong in a space when you get the courage to ask questions. You don't have to worry about giving your power away. And then when you don't have to do all of that, then you feel confident enough to set boundaries and to be authentic and aligned with yourself. And it's a continuing growth process, how we do this. There's not some place plateau that we're supposed to be, is what I've told y'all before. So it's just that continual process. So I just wanted to draw that to your attention today to see, if any of you had been experiencing that, if there's any way further that I can help you in future videos in that area. But I want to encourage you to ask questions, to ask the questions within yourself, to be able to, when you ask those questions within yourself, you'll be able to know if it deserves a conflict and confrontation, if it's something that you need to rise above. First, to be unapologetic, you have to realize you're apologizing all the time. It's not just going to quit happening, but we need to apologize when we really did do something wrong. But we don't have to apologize for everything, We don't have to apologize for being here. I like the Desiderata I have tattooed on my arm. It's a reminder that we are no less than the trees and the stars, and we have every right to be here, whoever you are, So I hope that this video has been helpful. I'm going to close it with this. A lot of times when I would be uncertain about myself, and we are in these uncertain times, and I wasn't even in uncertain times, I was just uncertain of myself. And I, had been shamed in many different areas, and I had to work on my codependency when I would be giving my power away. And I still work with women sometimes on codependency. And I work out of this book called The Codependent's Guide to the 12 Steps. A lot of you may not even know what codependency is. You can look at YouTube. Even Melody Beattie is on YouTube and does videos. She's got videos too. So you can check her out, this Codependent's Guide to the 12 Steps, and we always work the steps out of this book, and that's how we become empowered sometimes when we are feeling less powerless. When we're giving our power away, we're powerless. How we become empowered is to be able to ask ourselves questions, and then we can ask others questions. Then sometimes we have to set boundaries according to that. If we don't ask questions, then we're creating unreasonable expectations. If we ask questions and then our expectations still don't get met, then we get to learn we have to set boundaries. And sometimes setting boundaries, there's a fear of conflict and confrontation when we set a boundary. I would say there's a huge fear there. So if there's any way that I can help you or anyone else, or you just want to check out Melody Beattie to see if you are indeed codependent, then feel free. I hope this video has given you the information, some information that's helpful or insightful. And if it has, please feel free to share it if you think that somebody may need it. Please support a positive algorithm of being able to heal and help the universe to be more understanding and compassionate, not just with ourselves, but with others too, but still yet to stand in our power and be unapologetic when we don't need to, to apologize, to be able to walk into a room and feel like we belong, whether or not we get along with everybody in there, or worry about that we are able to enjoy a party rather than worry about things. That we're able to enjoy a meeting rather than worry about how we're going to come off. Because when you come off authentic, I think that people just like us better. So it's to our own self be true, but at the same time to be considerate too. So, again, check out my webpage, stacyforlife.com, and I wish you much peace and love, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I thank you so much once again for watching this video. If you'd like to support this video other than liking and sharing and subscribing, underneath there's shows a way that you could support me with monetary. You could support me, stacyreinick@gmail.com, at PayPal. So there's a description below in the link below. Thank you so much once again. Bye.